This video will give a quick overview of the hash network and some of the tokenomics at play. Hash network is a global blockchain that is a parachain of the Polkadot network. The hash network serves, across the globe, represented here by these purple dots. The Polkadot network, represented by the yellow dots, is its secure layer 1. There are hundreds of Polkadot nodes securing the entire Polkadot network, which includes the hash network. There's also other parachains, think about 40 other parachains that exist as parachains similar to the hash network, and they provide a series of complementary services that applications running on the hash network can tap into. So what is what's the initial base layer for blockchain security? This base layer provides global availability, immutability and security, regular upgrades, and Polkadot has the fastest growing developer community, which is evidence that it has a lot of momentum. The hash network operating on the Polkadot network provides its own set of functionality that makes services, a set of services that make Web3 practical for businesses. These include, our marketplace, some of our integration with stable tokens and banking services, fund administration tools, role-based access control, nice back bridges like signing in with Google, the ability to save and share confidential information, and of course integration with native Bitcoin vaults and other real-world assets. So above the blockchain functionality layer are the applications. You're probably familiar with many of these, but just quickly, Afloat is a tax credit marketplace. Proxy is an application for fund administration and EB5 investments. LeaseX is a marketplace for factoring of residential leases. Wash to Shore is a jewelry manufacturer that reclaims jewelry and remanufactures that jewelry into new products. Peruvian Coffee, we have product traceability, the ability to meet the farmer or tip the farmer from a restaurant, and of course organic style certifications. And Coinster, of course, Bitcoin vaults, Bitcoin spending policies, signature orchestration, and support for proof of reserves. Afloat, Proxy, and Coinster are live, and the other three are still work in process. So in terms of the economics, the users of these applications are typically paying in fiat, and the applications themselves are paying for services on the hash network using the hash token. And the hash network is secured into the Polkadot ecosystem using the DOT token. So let's talk a little more about tokenomics. So at the genesis of the chain, Hash Network minted 1 billion tokens, and they're allocated into the 10 different allocations that are seen in this donut chart. These allocations were calculated using looking back at all the other parachains and their allocations and building an average prototypical parachain and how the funds are being spent. And that's how these allocations were derived. Now, these companies, the launch partners, the applications that are on the network, Afloat, Proxy, etc., earn hash token through our launch partner program, which come from the ecosystem budget. They earn this hash with direct builder funds, just essentially hiring developers to build their software out for the hash network. Grant sponsorship. Some applications like Afloat worked with us and the Web3 Foundation and the global Polkadot community to earn grants. Those grants also earn hash token. And there's also opportunities to build partnerships, referrals, get additional applications onto the platform. And these applications, the ones that are using the network, are the ones that are deriving value from it. So they're the ones that are burning the hash token. So in their transactions, just like transaction fees, hash is another transaction fee that is going to be burned as they transact within the system. Burning the token reduces the overall supply, which benefits the token holders by increasing the value, the relative value of all other tokens. It also incentivizes development and operations of not just the hash network, but also value flows downward into the Polkadot network as well. So let's talk a little bit about how these allocations are going to be managed. So they vest over various periods of time. Each bucket, 1, 3, 10 year, maybe 3, 5, 10, maybe 1, 3, 5. And then each of these becomes a treasury. So we have these 10 treasuries listed here that are receiving funds with every block. And those funds are to be spent or allocated or sold off in order to pay for additional services or incentivize other behaviors that drive value to the network. And so coming up this summer or fall, we're going to have elections to elect a group of treasurers for each one of these buckets. Here are just some examples here. And these are just some examples of our key partners who will likely, have a role as a treasurer on one or many of the treasuries. Some of the treasuries may have 3 people and just be a 2 of 3 multi-sig. Some may have 5, some even more. So over time, the hash allocations would be spent in order to drive value back into the hash network. If it's not spent, it could also be burned, just like the applications are burning hash as they pay for their services. If the treasury funds go unused, they would also be burned in the same way. That's it for the summary of the hash network tokenomics. Let us know if you have any questions.